Hello students, welcome to the video tutorial series on JavaScript, and in this session we are going to see about functions. So initially, and today's learning objectives are what is a function and what is the meaning of recursion and how to use the return keyword in recursion. So to start with, what is a function? A function is a piece of code that performs a specific task. For instance, if you have a calculator as displayed in the picture, you have many buttons in that particular calculator. If you press any one button, it performs only that functionality. For instance, if you take a multiplication button, in that multiplication button, if you press that, it will perform only multiplication operation. It will not perform addition operation or subtraction or division. So it is purely dedicated only to multiplication operation, because inside that particular button, the code which is used for performing multiplication is been written. So similarly, in JavaScript or any other C language or C++, any programming language, a function is mainly useful to contain a particular code inside a block, and it is useful only to perform that particular task. And as soon as you press that particular use that particular function, it responds to the user in some manner. So that is the main reason we use a function. And how to declare and invoke a function. So what is the meaning of invocation? Invocation is nothing but calling a particular function. So initially, how to declare a function? Functions must be declared before they are used. So before you use a function, you have to declare it. So without declaring, you can't use the function. So please remember that. And second thing is, most of the programmers declare and define it in the head section. They will not declare in the body section, but you can also declare in the body section, but the good approach is to create under the head section. And the third one is invocation alone does from the body section. So whenever you want to call, you can call from the body section, and function definition you can give in the head section. So function calling is done from the body section and function definition is given in the head section. And this is the syntax. So for function definition, the syntax is the function name, function keyword. Every JavaScript program you have to use a function keyword, then followed by a function name, then you have to give a parenthesis. And now in the syntax, I didn't specify any parameters, but you can also specify some parameters when passing to the functions, which we'll be seeing in our programs. And inside the curly braces, you have to pass the statements which have to be defined. And if you want to invoke a particular function, that is, if you want to call a particular function, then you have to just specify the function name within the parenthesis. If you have parameters, just specify that, or else not necessary, just you can leave it empty. So this is the syntax of calling a particular function and defining a particular function. And if I want to pass an argument, just now I said we can also pass an arguments, that is parameters, and the syntax of that will be function keyword, similarly followed by function name, and within the parentheses you can pass any number of arguments, but in this syntax I passed only 2. It doesn't mean that you have to pass only 2 arguments. You can pass n number of arguments. So inside the curly braces I have given the statements, and how to call this particular function using the function name, and within the parentheses you have to give the arguments which you have defined here. And this is the only way to call a particular function. Is there any other way? Yes, we do have one more way also, using links. This is a new way which JavaScript provides us. So using a link, that is a hyperlink, you can call a function. How? A function can be called directly from a hyperlink using the JavaScript pseudo protocol. So we are going to use the JavaScript pseudo protocol to call a function directly from a link, from a hyperlink. So how it is possible? Using the syntax. Now you see this program over here. Anchor tag and hyperreference equal to JavaScript. This is the pseudo protocol, and after that I'm giving the colon name, then colon, and then giving the function name. That's it. As soon as I click that link, automatically the JavaScript function will be called. So it is not necessary that you have to call only from the buttons. You can even call from the hyperlinks also in JavaScript. And what is the main meaning of recursion and return? What is the meaning of recursion? Recursion is nothing but a function calling itself again and again for a specified number of times is known as recursion. So in other words, we can even say it is a chain of function calls to the same function. So if a function calls itself again and again for a specified number of times, it is known as a recursion. And the most famous examples are factorials, GCD, Fibonacci. So these are many examples. Return can also be used to send back the results of some task. Now return keyword can be used even in C language and C++ also we have this return keyword. So it is mainly used to send some values from the function definition again to the function calling. So if we see a program, we'll come to know and understand it much better. So we'll go to the program. Fine. Now we'll see the program. Now I've already created a text box and a button. And inside the script tag, I didn't use anything. Now I'm going to create a function, and my function I'm already given here as call me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a function known as call me, and inside that function, I'm going to pass a variable where a equal to whatever I'm entering in the first text box has to come and store in a. So document dot f1 dot t1 dot value, and this particular thing I want you to just display to the user. So I'm going to use document dot write. Here I'm going to use the number is plus a. So what I entered in the first text box will come in the document.write and display it to the user. So this is a basic function without using any parameters. So this particular part is known as the function definition, where you have the function keyword, function name, and without parameters I have given a parenthesis. And this is the function invocation, where you are calling a particular function, you are just specifying the function name alone. So I'm going to just save this browser and execute that. I click open with. Now we'll execute this. Now here 12, the number is 12. Now from this you can see that whichever number I enter, that number will be coming. So from that we came to know that a function is being called perfectly. Fine. Now I'm going to pass a parameter. Now inside this I'm going to pass a parameter known as like 10, 20. Now when I pass 10, 20, now here the text box is not necessary. So I'll just comment it, because here I'm going to pass the values directly. So I'm going to declare two variables a, b. So since I took the values directly from the function here itself, I need not create any variables, I don't need any text box also. So just I'll comment this, or else we'll get a confusion. Just I'll comment this now. So now I have only one button, and inside that button I passed to two parameters, that is 10 and 20, which will be received by A and B. So whichever is their first parameter will go to the first variable, whichever is their second parameter will go to the second variable. Now I'm going to print the number is A, and again plus the number is, just to indicate I'll just type the A number is and the B number is plus B. Right. Now if I execute this, just see the difference. I don't have a text box because I've commented the text box. Now you see here when I click on click me, I'm getting a number is 10 and B number is 20. So we can also pass the parameters like this. But because many of you are prone to using text boxes and forms, even in industries also they use like that. So why to go in this pattern? So I'm just showing you a way that you can also go like this. But in this, the disadvantage part is how long will you pass the parameters like this? You're not taking the input from the user. So you have to take the input from the user. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete these two values, and I'm going to use the same text box which I've used earlier. Now what I'm going to do is that I'm going to pass a value inside this, and the value I'm going to pass it as like two parameters. So I'll create another text box here. Enter the first number and enter the second number, and this text box name I'll change as T2. And now if you see this, I'm going to just call me which function. I'm just going to call that particular function, so no parameters over here. And I'm going to delete this also inside that. So I don't have anything now. Now what I'm going to do is that I'm going to create two variables where a is equal to, so whatever is entered in the first text box, document dot f1 dot t1 dot value, I'm storing in variable a, and where b is equal to document dot f1 dot t2 dot value will be stored in B. Fine. Now in A also have a value, B also have a value. Now what I'm going to do is that I'm going to create one more function. So inside this function, I'm going to call one more function. For instance, like I'm going to call a function known as disp. In just for display, I just mentioned this, and I'm going to pass these two parameters inside disp A comma B. Now what I'm going to do is that I'm going to create another function which is known as function disp A comma B. Now if I create a function, now these two are functions together. Now for two functions I created, one is call me and another one is disp. Call me will not be called by anything or empty parenthesis. I'm taking the values from the text box and I'm storing in two variables. Again I'm doing a function invocation. That value I'm passing to function definition over here. Here what I'm going to do is that I'm going to display the values. So I'm going to just display like just I'll do some maths and then display that. So what I'll do, I'll create one more variable where C is equal to A plus B. Now if you see this, A and B are strings as we already seen in previous things. So I'm going to use parse int. You can also use number. So for instance, I'm going to use parse int of A plus parse int of B. Now you see here, after that I'm going to display the values to the user. So for displaying what I'm going to use alert. The value is plus C. I'm going to display the value C in the alert box. Now what is happening here? I created two text boxes and a button. Inside that button I'm calling call me function without any parameters. After function calling, it goes to the function definition. Inside the function definition, I created two variables and whatever I enter in the text box I'm storing in two different variables, that is A and B. Later, I'm calling a function known as disp and I'm passing A and B as parameters. So this is a function calling. After function calling, it goes to the function definition. In function definition, again, I'm just substituting the values. After substituting, I'm just converting into integer and I'm adding. After adding, I'm storing in C variable and in alert box, I'm displaying the result. So this is a very simple addition program, but in this I'm using addition and function together. So let's save this and I'm going to my browser, just refresh. Now I'm going to use 10 plus 20, 10 and 20. When I click me, you can see the value is 30 is coming. It's very simple program, but what happened is I'm calling a function that in turn is calling another function that is just being displayed. So we can use our functions like this in order to take the inputs from the user. So this is about that. Fine. Now I'm going to show you how to use a hyperlink. Just now I said in the sites. So how to use a hyperlink in order to call a particular function. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a hyperlink outside the form. So href href equals, I'm going to create a function. So first I'll create a function and my function name will be like function. I'm using a function known as wish. So inside this I want to use this display an alert message. Thank you for something coming. So just I'm going to wish. So I'm going to use the same thing over here. My JavaScript pseudo protocol I'm going to use JavaScript colon, and then I'm going to use the function name that is wish, and then I'm going to close it. So click here to something up right now. I'm going to click here to wish the user. Fine. So that's it. I have written that. After refreshing, you can see a hyperlink appearing here. As soon as I click the hyperlink, you can see thank you for coming answer will be displayed over here as in alert box. And here what I'm going to do is just to test your previous 56 and 23, and you can see a 79 is being displayed. Now also when you click that, it says thank you for coming. So even through our anchor tag, we can call a particular function using JavaScript pseudo protocol. I hope so you understood that. And one more we'll see about the recursion program, which I've already written in order to save some time. So inside the form tag, I've created a text box and a button. In the button, I'm going to call a function known as call me. So same manner, inside the call me, I'm just whatever I'm entering the first text box, I'm storing in a variable A. After that, I'm calling another function known as fact, and inside that I'm passing a parameter known as A. Now this fact function will go and call this up to this is a function calling. After function calling, it goes to the function definition over here. Fine. And after it goes over here, if imagine a value is 3. 3 is equal to 1? No, it goes to the else part. In else part, we are using again the keyword return. Return 3 into fact of 3 minus 1. So 3 into fact of 3 minus 1 is 2. So again a fact of 2. Now this is a function calling. Again after function calling, it goes to the function definition. Now fact value is 2. A value is 2. Now 2 is equal to 1? No. Again it comes here, return. Already a value is 3. 3 into 2 is 6. Again 2 minus 1 is 1. Again after function calling, it goes to the function definition. Now 1 is equal to 1, condition is true. Already we got the answer as 6. 6 into 1 is 6. Now that 6 will be returned again to the function calling, which is being called from here. And now b value will be 6, and in alert message I'll be getting the answer as 6. So this is a basic C. In C language also we have the same basic recursion factorial program. So I'm using the same factorial program here also. So I'll just save this and I'll go to my browser and execute. Instead of sample2, I'll give it as sample1. Now you can see here, enter the number. It is asking me to enter the number, so I'm entering 3. As soon as I enter 3 and click me, I'll be getting the answer as 6 over here. So from this you can understand that the factorial programming, even if you enter 6, I'll be getting 720 is my factorial answer. So this is how the factorial works, and we have to remember only one thing. After function calling, it again goes to the function definition. So function calling itself, from inside fact, I'm calling again the fact function. So this is how the recursion is being done. I hope you understood this. Now we'll get back to the slides. Fine, we came to the end of the session. In the next session, we'll be discussing about arrays in detail. I hope you understood the functionalities which is present under the concept functions. And in the next video, we'll be saying about arrays. Thank you.